Yo, what's up, people? It's your boy. I'm Chrissy Don One, and I am back with another video. We're gonna be talking about the Tennessee Titans. A lot of people didn't think that this was going to happen, and a lot of people also thought the Tennessee Titans shouldn't even belong in the playoffs. And the reason why Tennessee Titans were in the playoffs because of their division. The division is suspect. The Jacksonville Jaguars also made the playoffs. And a lot of people in the early stages of the NFL season thought it was a foregone conclusion that the Indianapolis Colts was going to represent the AFC as well. And there's a shot and a chance that the Texans, due to large part of their defense, we're also going to make the playoffs as well. But that's why they play the games. You know, nobody plays the game, you know, on paper. Nobody plays the game on the players on the chart. Eventually, you have to go out there and play the games, and that's what the Tennessee Titans did. They played their games, all right? Now, Tennessee Titans played the Kansas City Chiefs, and if you was a bettor, the smart money was on the Kansas City Chiefs. A lot of people felt like Kansas City Chiefs had a lot of things riding with them. They had a quarterback that had playoffs experience. They also had a coach who had not only playoffs, Andy Reid, who not only had playoff experience, but was also in the Super Bowl. And Andy Reid is starting to become one of those types of coaches where he's like Bill Belichick. But if you understand Andy Reid's DNA, he always had amazing seasons, even when he was even though he was a coach of the Philadelphia Eagles. Andy Reid's problems started arriving when he started going into the playoffs and when he lost in the Super Bowl, the only Super Bowl Andy Reid has ever been in. All right, now, as a coach, when the early stages of the game, Kansas City was up and up big, and normally people would say, okay, this is a foregone conclusion, it's a wrap, it's over with. The Tennessee Titans didn't really need to be there anyway. And understanding the Tennessee Titans, I'm not a fan of the Tennessee Titans, but I understand their organization. I've been around their organization, all right? And for the past couple of years, it's win or bust, all right? Particularly with the coaching staff. The only one that was really untouchable was Marcus Mariota, the quarterback for the Tennessee Titans. But everyone else was either tradable or fired. The coaching staff was basically on a one-year contract. And it was a foregone conclusion when they were down and the Kansas City Chiefs were winning. A lot of people were assuming that when you're talking about the ownership of the Tennessee Titans, they were already getting ready to fire Mike. I think it's I forgot the coach of the Tennessee Titans. I had a brain fart there. I'm sorry. It was a foregone conclusion that they was going to fire him from the get-go. All right. Because one, it wasn't because they never had a lot of faith in him. Two, it wasn't really the coach they wanted. It was sort of like one of those situations where he was the only one available and he was the only one wanting the job. All right, they tried their way. They tried so hard and desperately to get all types of other coaches, and they had to fall short for him. So they really never had no faith in him. And when you're talking about the organization, when you're talking about the family, you know, Bud Adams passed, God rest his soul. There was also talk that they was thinking about even selling the team 4 years ago, right? Now, when you got all of that riding and you don't have faith in your coach have to really show and prove why you pay him the big bucks. And due to some portion of Kansas City quarterback, and I can't remember people's names all of a sudden. Like I said, when I do these streams this early, you have to bear with me. Everything's not clicking because it's early. Plus, I done worked out. So, when he went down with that big hit, that left a gaping hole and an opportunity for the Tennessee Titans to come back. The Tennessee Titans were rushing their tails off. And their defense, if you look at the Tennessee Titans in the past, they were always known as a defensive team. Particularly when Jeff Fisher was there, he would, once he gets the lead, he'll sit on it and let his defense take over. All right. And that's not the staple anymore with the Tennessee Titans. They have an okay defense, but they don't have that type of defense like they used to, right? Because of the organization. They're not going to spend a lot of money on everything, okay? They expect results from the Tennessee Titans, but they're not willing to spend any money. Even though they have made several statements saying that they'll do whatever it takes to have a winning product on the field, right? So, when that opportunity arrived, the Tennessee Titans capitalized on it. And that's basically what this game was all about. In sports, there's no guaranteed wins. You have to go out there and get it, okay? It's not as easy as just showing up and then they give you the W. The Kansas City Chiefs had the better. If you look at the Kansas City Chiefs and you match them up with the Tennessee Titans, if you are a real football watcher, not a fan, but if you pay attention to the game, if you look at the rosters and you compare the two, they were somewhat similar. All right, the Kansas City Chiefs didn't have a big time player that was 10 times better than his opponent. All right, and that's why the Tennessee Titans capitalized and won that game. Both of these teams matched up well. The Tennessee Titans didn't have to worry about Tom Brady on the other side of the field. But with that being said, the Kansas City Chiefs didn't have to worry about a J.J. Watt on the other side of the field. All right, so they didn't. If you look at the teams, they were pretty much similar. All right, one team did not have the advantage. Now, if you're talking about experience being an advantage, well, yes, the Kansas City Chiefs had experience on the coaching side of things, as well as a handful of players that had playoff experience. But but at the end of the day, if you don't utilize your experiences, then it's a useful tool. It's an unuseful tool. All right. Now, Andy Reid, who have been in scenarios like this with the Eagles, was in a scenario again that game. And Andy Reid did what he did in those other games. All right. And that's why they lost. They didn't lose because of Andy Reid's coaching. It's just they lost to the simple fact of, if you had more experience than the other team, then you should utilize your experiences. Don't do the things that you did in the past. You have to learn from your mistakes, right? But like I said earlier, these teams are similar. These teams didn't have a superstar like, oh my God, we have to worry about so-and-so, okay? So that's ultimately what happens. When you have two teams and they're pretty much similar, this is the outcome that you get. Now, a lot of people are calling this the upset of the year. They're calling it One of the biggest upsets. I wouldn't go that far as calling it an upset. It's just the way, that's the way how the ball bounces when you play sport, when you are a competitor, right? Nothing is guaranteed, either winning or losing, okay? So, from this win, after the win, the Tennessee Titan coach, and I keep forgetting his name, I want to say Mike Mularkey, but I don't think that's his name, was asked after the win, and he got a little emotional, and he didn't tear up, but he got a little emotional, saying that, well, I was basically coaching for my coaching life. Okay, if basically if you read in between the lines, he was on the verge of being fired as the Tennessee Titans coach. I don't know who the Tennessee Titans coach was going to get to replace him. They probably would have gotten the exact same type of coach that they currently have today. And it would have been wise for the Tennessee Titans to just go ahead and give him a year extension, that's pretty much what they did after the interview, particularly when he's talking about, well, I didn't have too much of a future at Tennessee. It was either win or go home and pack your bags, okay, because I was fired, and no one had faith in me, okay, and it felt good to him. And the Tennessee Titan brass issued a statement saying that they had full faith in him, and they rewarded him with a year extension. Well, not a year extension. They're just going to go ahead and let him play his final year. Okay, which you know, they would have been happy if he would have lost. They would have been happy with just firing him, and chances are he probably would not gotten another head coaching gig, and he'll probably have to sit out next year, but he will be getting paid, okay? And they would have been fine with that, okay? Because that's how they had the situation planned when you're talking about the Tennessee Titans organization. The Tennessee Titans organization had no faith in him. The Tennessee Titans organization was looking for his successor, but when you look at the landscape of coaching, there's really no one out there that's better than what he's currently doing right now. Now, if they had an opportunity to get Jon Gruden, which they didn't, they never had an opportunity to get Jon Gruden. They knew that. They never had an opportunity. Even if Marvin Lewis would have been fired by the Bengals, they would have never had an opportunity to get him either. All right. So chances are they probably would have gotten a college coach to coach the Tennessee Titans. Right. If you look at the Tennessee Titans roster, it's up and coming. They have a lot of players there that if they just be patient and allow these players to grow and develop, they may have something in the making. Now, do they have something in the making like back in the glory days of the Tennessee Titans when they had I said his name in the beginning, now all of a sudden I lost his name. And that's what happens, man, when you do these streams live early in the morning. All right, Jeff Fisher, that's the name I was looking for. Jeff Fisher, Eddie George, Steve McNair, all these other cats that was in the glory years. All right, those players are not coming back. Okay, you're not going to get a great crop and a great opportunity to get a crop of players like that. So Marcus Mariota, I think he's a good quarterback. I don't think if when it's all said and done, you have to let this play off. But he does have but he does have the makings of being a better quarterback. I don't think he's better than Andrew Luck. I don't think he's better than other quarterbacks in the National Football League. But I think he's a good quarterback, and he's a listener. And if you have a quarterback whisperer out there that doesn't have a job, you need to go ahead and pick up that quarterback whisperer and pair him up with Marcus Mariota. That kid is going to do great things. It depends on what he has, who is leading him and who is teaching him. All right, he's a good quarterback, but he has the opportunity to become a great quarterback. All right, but the jury is still out on him. I don't think he's better than Cam Newton. No, I don't think he's better than Cam Newton as of right now. But with this playoff experience that he's gathering, hopefully he eats up and loves this so much to where he wants to have more of this next year. And it's a possibility that he will. Now, when the Tennessee Titans play better teams, like maybe the Pittsburgh Steelers or the New England Patriots, then that's where you're going to probably have problems on the defensive side of things, because the Tennessee Titans defense can't stop the Pittsburgh Steelers offense. Even though some of the players of the Pittsburgh Steelers are injured, I still don't think the Tennessee Titans defense is good enough to stop them or even slow them down. And when you're talking about the New England Patriots, it's more so a scheme and system and players. They do have players there and experience, and they have a better coach on the other side of the field, where he's not going to put his team in positions where they may have problems. All right. So when you got all of that against you, it makes life miserable, makes the game miserable for the Tennessee Titans. But I think they can beat the Jacksonville Jaguars. All right. Blake Bortles versus Marcus Mariota. We're gonna have to wait and see on this. But once again, it's one of those matchups where it fits perfectly. All right. If these guys had, I think when you talk about Tennessee Titans and the Jacksonville Jaguars, once again, it's one of those scenarios, just like over the weekend, where anything can happen. All right. But it is what it is. Guys, tell me what you think. Rate, comment, subscribe. Please hit the notification bell on my YouTube page so you'll know when my next video goes live. I'm also going to do another video later on this afternoon. It's your boy. Peace.